have an unidentified flying object.
I'm Jack Oswald, and you're listening.
This is Hudson Hammond, and you're listening to...
I'm Richard C. Hoagland, and you're listening to...
I'm Art Bell, and you're listening to Dr. J Radio Live.
We have an unidentified flying object.
All right, welcome back, folks, to another episode of Dr. J Radio Live. I'm your host, Dr. J, broadcasting from the City of Angels. As you know, we are internationally syndicated with late night in the Midlands in the United States, as well as deprogram radio in the United Kingdom, plus their local affiliates in FM and AM. Now, I've been very excited for tonight's show. In keeping up with the spirit of Halloween, we are actually going to dive into something that is completely opposite of what current Halloween's about. I guess children playing, happiness, toys, really candy, the toys for them for that night. But the point is, what we're going to talk about is really no laughing matter. I will let my guest get into it, but let me just say before I bring him on, just before the interview, I told him what I was going to say on air when we started this interview, because this show is literally compatible with Father Jack Ashcroft's show. But the difference is we're talking to the victim. And my guest said something very interesting, so I'm going to bring him on. Let's bring on live, everyone, Mr. Keith Linder. Keith, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dr. J, thanks for having me. Feels good to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Like I said, I've been really looking forward to talking to you. I've read what's happened to you in a nutshell, and that's why I realized I have to talk to you without reading too much further to give me enough hints that I sort of spoil the own party for everyone. But I got enough. Now, as you said in the statement right before when I talked about Father Jack Ashcroft, you jumped in and said something. Go ahead and say that for everyone who's listening to Father Jack, or to you about that statement I made about Father Jack.
Yeah, I was going to say that Father Jack was one of the priests that we did reach out to. I believe it was 2014, early 2014. Me and my ex-girlfriend Tina. We talked to a lot of priests, including Father Jack, and a lot of photographs, audio, and video information shared coming from our house, because 2014 was probably the darkest year of the 4 years me and Tina lived in the house, and we were spinning our wheels on trying to get true help into the house.
Now, you mentioned, or off air, what I read too, was that this ordeal was 4 years long, and 2012 is when it started, so I'm assuming literally through 2016, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, 4 years, so May 1st of 2012 to about May 8th of 2016 is when I moved out.
Now, let's wind the clock back to 2012. You're living in Texas with your girlfriend, Tina. You're about to take this killer IT job in Seattle. So you move up to Pacific Northwest in the Seattle region and take it from there.
Yeah, well, actually, we were already living in the Pacific Northwest. Me and Tina, we had been together 2 years prior to moving into the Bothel house. She had her place, I had mine. And I think we were sort of nearing our 2-year anniversary on our relationship. And I got promoted, became a manager in the IT job market. And it just seemed like perfect timing to take that relationship to the next level, especially with a new job promotion. Why not ride that wave, if you will?
Yes.
And yeah, we found this house on Craigslist, and there it was. We both liked it from what we read online. I emailed the landlord homeowner, and he told me at the time that the house was still occupied. He had put the ad out early, but he would definitely give me a call once the house goes on the market. He kept his word, he did, and we saw the house and fell in love with it. Me and Tina fell in love with it, made an offer, put our application in. I think he called us 2 weeks later and said the house is yours. And yeah, we moved in May 1st of 2012. And I always tell people, pretty much started having activity on day one. Of course, we didn't know it was activity till much, much later. But looking back and having things confirmed, yeah, we started experiencing weird things on day one.
Now, before we jump into what happened on May 1st, 2012, before you moved in, after you actually looked at it, placed your offer, was there any indication that there was anything like this going on, or maybe some people were freaked out about some creaky sounds or something, which you just thought were unjustified, or was it just literally a clean house, a nice house to go to, live in?
This was a clean, almost brand new house. The house itself was built in 2005. So it looked like it was like a brand new, clean house. There was nothing wrong, cosmetic with the home. The neighborhood that the house was in was built in 2005. So it was a tract home neighborhood, and it's hard to not fall in love with a house like this immediately, because we did. And there were a lot of other people on the bid list with us, according to the homeowner, and we were glad to, win. We were really proud of ourselves, me and Tina high-fiving ourselves when we got the house, and even when we went to sign the papers and get the keys, we were still proud of ourselves.
Now, so clearly no indication, like you said, house built in 2005, and you're literally 7 years later, 2012. I mean, that's literally, like it's a brand new house. So you move in on May 1st, 2012. What's the first thing you and your girlfriend start to notice?
We heard a kid cough. House is empty. The homeowner had just left. We signed the papers. He gave us the keys. So it's just me and Tina in the home now. The house is ours. And we're sitting in the living room, and we're talking, sort of getting a lay of the land, if you will. Which room is going to be used for what? Where is this couch going to go? Where's this dresser going to go? This is her closet. This is my closet. And in the middle of us talking, we hear a kid cough, and it was a loud cough. And it stopped us dead in our tracks, because Tina looked at me, I looked at her, and we both said it at the same time. We said, "Is that a kid cough?" And I'm telling you, it sounded like it came from one of the rooms upstairs. That's the direction that it sounded like it came from. But keep in mind, no one's in the house. We don't have kids. The utilities in the house have not even been turned on. So the only thing that really echoes in the house is me and Tina's talking, and now this kid cough. But we didn't pay it no mind. We sort of shrugged it off, laughed it off, thinking that had to have come outside. Maybe we heard that wrong. But coughs are sort of characteristics unto themselves. It's hard to say something else is a kid cough. But we paid it no mind. And 2 weeks later, we're sort of still moving in. And other things started happening, like my missing car keys, my second or my extra set of car keys were missing or went missing. Tina started coming to me, asking me, have I seen her jewelry? Certain trinkets of hers were now missing. About a month or 6 weeks in, we started noticing our silverware. I'm now looking for silverware during supper time. I'm asking Tina, I thought we had more forks than this. I thought we had more knives. And it was just really weird. But you can't connect the dots yet. We're not really connecting the dots, and why would we? We were clueless about the paranormal before we moved into the house. We did not know these were just the precursors, the introductions. So we thought maybe we misplaced some stuff when we moved in. Even though I moved myself, she had professional movers. But things go missing during a move. That's just how it goes. Then 2 months in, we're watching television, me and Tina. And Tina has a plant that's about 4 feet tall, and it sits right next to the entertainment center. So if you look at the TV, you're looking at the plant. And all of a sudden, the plant just rises up and darts up in the air rather quickly, does a 360-degree spin, twirls around, and then falls to the ground. And we both saw that. This was not an instance of, hey, Tina, come here, or hey, Keith, come here. You're not going to believe this. We both saw that, and in truth to form, we thought we were being pranked. We thought, this has got to be either the homeowner or the landlord's joke, or maybe his kids got a key into the house and they're pranking the new tenants, or this is a neighborhood joke. But, you know, it was just weird. But at that point, once we ruled out the prank, because we didn't find any wire or remote control, we said, I think we got a kid ghost living with us.
So everything that was happening before that, the missing keys, the missing jewelry, obviously the cough on the opening, the night you moved in, really, the day you moved in, the silverware, all of that, you just brushed it off to possibly missing because you're still moving into the house and keys go missing all the time. That's just a normal thing. I mean, who can't say they don't lose their keys?
Yeah.
So after you saw it, I mean, this would be a really freaky sight to just be seeing this plant rise up, especially a large plant. You described it as a 4-foot tall plant, to rise up, do a 360, and would just come back down, right?
Yeah, it killed over. It didn't land back to where it was originally standing. It just killed over onto the floor. Yeah.
So what was the conversation between you and Tina after that? Did you get out of the house that night and go stay in a hotel and regroup, or did you just stick it out?
No, me and Tina, we rushed to the plant. We looked it over. We had a real look of shock and awe on our face because that just happened. I think one of us even said, did that just happen? And keep in mind, Tina's sort of analytical thinker. I'm sort of analytical thinker. And then I think one of us said, that's what that kid cough is about. I think we have a kid ghost living in this house. Because now we're rewinding all the weird stuff we've experienced. And we're like, oh, that's what that cough was about. But in our minds, a kid cough is not scary.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be sure, we went on the internet and Googled kid cough. And we got all kind of answers and responses of, yeah, children ghosts. There are ghosts that are childlike, and there are children who passed away who did not move on. You might have one in your house. Here's what to do. And we're like, oh, we can do that. I mean, the directions on how to handle something like this, nothing's malevolent yet. Yeah, we can handle that. And the directions we were given was, hey, these things are confused. They're lost. They might be a little bit scared. Talk to it gingerly. Ask what it wants, why it's here, and sort of guide it into the light. And these things will typically leave on their own. And we did all that. So yeah, we didn't run out the house. We didn't go to a hotel that night. We did all the things we found online that said these things are typically confused and lost.
Now, when you did these instructions, which, again, like you said, this was not malevolent yet, seemed like a very benevolent child, confused ghost, and I've talked to people that literally see dead people, and that's a very common theme, is that children who pass suddenly, whether it be a murder, hit by a car, something like that, where they just suddenly go as opposed to being in a hospital bed for months and passing, they don't know that they're literally dead yet. That was one of the big things. So after you've done all this, what you thought was, easy directions to get out a lost and confused child ghost, did this child ghost start to respond in a more malevolent way, or did it just sort of continue to be the same prankster that it was till then?
It was doing the prankster for about 3 more weeks on out, meaning we would get locked out the house. So if you go outside your patio back door and come back in, the patio door is mysteriously locked. Or if you go to the front door to go check the mail, you leave your door cracked, come back, the door is locked. It would turn off lights and turn on lights, flick off TVs, or TVs themselves would come off and on. So it would do stuff like that. Once again, not benevolent, but sort of, hey, it would be kind of cool if you would cut that out, you know?
Yeah.
You're just sort of thinking that, and you're trying to hope they get the message. And then I guess the gloves came off when we had our housewarming party where we were entertaining guests, and a plant flew across the room. I mean, one of Tina's plants, not the 4-foot tall one, another one. And our guests saw that, and we told everybody, yeah, we have a kid ghost. He's kind of acting adolescent, and half the people freaked out. Half the people thought it was cool. Half the people never came back ever. People were like, hey, that's kind of cool. But me and Tina, once again, going back to the internet, saying, hey, it doesn't seem like this kid is getting the message. We're about 3 months, going on 4 months into this, and now it's slamming doors. Now it's loud bangs. You're having dinner, you're trying to have a conversation, and out of the blue are these loud bangs that are, you can't pinpoint where they're coming from, and they rock the foundation of the house. Or you're talking in your bed before you go to sleep. Tina could be channel surfing, or I could be reading my phone or text messages or whatever, and the bedroom door will slam and the light will cut off. And you would get out of your bed, open the door, and go into the hallway and just look into the air or whatever and say, hey, can you cut that out? We're trying to get some sleep. Go into the light, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then it will start throwing iron and ironing boards in the middle of the night, or while you're taking a shower and stuff like that. So that, like you said, we started saying, well, maybe this is not a kid ghost. Maybe we're assuming too much. Let's bless the house. And because that's the next step, being advised from friends and family, websites, paranormal websites, is have the house blessed. That typically works. Sage.
Yes.
Typically works. But everything we tried seemed to ratchet up the activity.
Yes. Now you literally answered my next question. That did this help, or did it just piss off this ghost more? And you just said it ratcheted up the activity. Now, let me ask you this before I jump into what more activity increased. When you were having these irons and iron boards flying and making noise and hitting whatever walls, and then even at your housewarming party when that plant flew, was it hitting a wall or an area near one of your guests, or when the irons and iron boards were going on, was it ever in the vicinity of you and Tina?
Well, that's a good question. At first, items that got thrown in our house, books, Bibles, ironing boards, and plants, they always got thrown within your line of sight or in the other room. You hear a huge ruckus in the other room. Most times it's the room right next to yours. The housewarming party, the plant got thrown in the living room. We're all in the den. So a few people saw the plant go through the air because they were facing that direction. A lot of times me and Tina are responding to loud crashes. I'd be in my office working on my computer. Tina's in the bed. And in between our rooms is the hallway and a bookshelf. And a lot of times an ironing board or an iron would get thrown, or the books on the bookshelf would get thrown off it. You hear that loud crash, and it's very loud, so you both run from wherever you're currently at, and you see a total mess on the floor. If it's a plant, you got dirt everywhere, pottery, foliage. You might have a new hole in your wall. Ironing board the same way. I mean, the iron, we've all picked up an iron. They're pretty heavy, pointed. You never want to be on the receiving end of one being thrown. But at first, no, these things are being thrown in our peripheral vision in another room. But, by the time 2014 rolls around, no, they're going to be thrown within, a hairline of you. I mean, some of them start grazing you.
Wow. One of the items that you were talking about that was being thrown was Bibles. And I find that very interesting because
Yeah.
I would think that at the sight of a Bible, or even just the actual tangible Bible, or even any sort of religious text, whether it been, just the Old Testament for the Judaism, for anything like that, I would have thought maybe that would have shown a little more respect, because the spirit may have had some legitimate fears from it. But it seems to be like nothing was phasing it, was it? Didn't matter what.
Yeah, it seemed the Bibles, I almost want to say the Bible seemed to be like a slap in the face to them, of them just outright saying to us, me and Tina, that's not going to work. We don't care about Bibles. Because keep in mind, they threw a lot of them. 3 of them did catch fire. 2 are still missing. But a lot of our religious objects, meaning wooden crosses, rosaries and whatnot, holy water, Bible, white candles, statues of Michael the Archangel, pictures of Michael the Archangel, all those things would get thrown. Some would catch fire, some would go missing. Some would just be broken to where you couldn't use it anymore. So yeah, you're starting to think, wow, this thing is burning Bibles. I mean, who burns a Bible?
Nobody that I know ever. Literally.
Nobody, and so you kind of shriek. You shriek like, man, that's like, Superman. Superman gets a bullet and he eats them. But the spirit is just literally burning Bibles, and it's not having the reaction we're told by, clergy, priests, paranormal researchers, investigators, lay out your religious paraphernalia as a means to tell the spirits that this is your home. You got to be steadfast. You got to draw a red line, and they will not cross it. Well, we're doing all of that, and they're crossing it as soon as your back is turned. I mean, they're making no bones about it. They're crossing that red line. So that and that's when me and Tina start uttering and whispering the word, that D word, demon. And we like, hey, what is this?
Now, here's my next question. When you said the Bibles were being burnt after they were thrown, I mean, what was it like? Did it look like spontaneous combustion?
Well, when I say Bibles are being thrown, I mean, how the Bibles caught fire in our home is you put a Bible out, like you advise, on a bookshelf, and you open up to Psalms or Proverbs, and you just leave it there, like you leave a passage open. You just go about your daily activity. Well, the first few times you do that, they throw the Bible across the room. All right, you pick up the Bible, you turn it back to the page that it was on, and you put it back on your bookshelf. You say, cut that out. Don't do that anymore. And the 4th time or the 5th time you do that, you walk by your bookshelf, the Bible's gone. All right? I mean, it's just gone. All right, Tina, you got it? No, I don't have it. Whoa, the Bible's missed. We got a missing Bible now. And I don't even really think we searched hard for it, because there's only 2 of us here. They've taken a number of things already. We know they took the Bible. The question is, when are they going to give it back? And we would always ask them, hey, give us back our Bible, give it back. Well, now you go to bed, and about 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning, your fire alarm goes off.
Jeez.
And your fire alarm is ringing. Then you go into the hallway because you're responding to the noise and the smoke, or you go to the direction the smoke is coming from, and there on the floor is your missing Bible, and it's on fire.
In the chat, I think I might have an answer to this question, but I want to obviously put it to you, all of it. From Third Phase of Moon, the Cousins brothers, Blake and Brent Cousins, and live in Hawaii right now, the world's largest UFO YouTube channel, are asking, did Keith get any paranormal activity on video?
Yeah, I mean, we have to define what paranormal activity.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're going to get there. That's just the key thing. Okay, so now I would assume from the months and the weeks, you're probably at the end of 2012 into 2013, not quite 2014 yet, right?
Yeah, and here's the interesting characteristics, once again, that that's written and documented in cases similar to mine is toward the end of 2012 and all of 2013, the activity just stops. Okay? I mean, it just abruptly stops. Me and Tina to this day don't know what we did exactly to make it stop, but it did stop. And so now we're sort of thinking, right when we're about to hit that panic button and say we're moving out of here, the activity stops. Now I can start getting my dream house, my money's worth, and why I chose the house in the first place. So all of 2013 pretty much was quiet. There was nothing you can really put your finger on and say, hey, that's paranormal. We had suspicions, but nothing definite like we had in 2012. Then,
go on. No. I was just going to pick up from your thought. Go on.
No, so then January 2nd of 2014, I had a weird bad fall. I was coming down the stairs for a glass of water, and I fell really hard. I tore my right patella tendon. Required the fire department and EMT to show up and haul me off to the hospital, and required surgery to reattach. So I was laid up for about 2 months upstairs, confined to the upstairs while Tina went to work, and crutches and stitches. Just had my kneecap basically reattached to my knee, and I wasn't working. So then I started hearing the noises I heard in 2012, but now I'm only confined to my bedroom. I'm hearing the footsteps. I'm hearing the pitter-patter. I'm hearing the kitchen cabinet doors open, but hey, nobody's home. It's just me. A few weeks after that, probably late March, early April, me and Tina are asleep. We had this about 300-pound armoire, wooden armoire in the hallway. And we're asleep. Me and Tina are knocked out. And we hear a loud crash, like boom, 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 boom. And we wake up. We're startled awake. It looked like we got home invasion going on. And we run out into the hallway. And the armoire that was once over here is now over here.
And you said it was how many pounds? You said 300.
This is about 300-pound armoire. Yeah, it took me. I'm 6'5", 255 pounds. It took me and two other guys bigger than me to haul it upstairs when we moved in. And I'm telling you, the distance from where it traveled, from where its resting place to where it ended up, about 6-7 feet.
Now, this is what's crazy is, like you said, the weight of it and other things, just to even pick it up, and let alone, let's just say, if you could lunge it or in any way, you're not going to have that time of terminal velocity or that sort of speed. But that's not what you experience. You experience something pick up and thrown like what it just almost weighed nothing to this creature, demon, whatever you were thinking at the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen objects like the armoire and other heavy, like the bar stool and other objects, furniture. These things, to me and to anybody else, I may be able to pick these items up. I definitely can't throw them. I've seen these things thrown like they were tennis balls. I mean, it's just a once here, now here situation. I mean, it's just ... And the amount of energy, the amount, aerodynamics involved, because some of these things I've seen do cartwheels in the middle of the air before they find their resting spot. It just riddles your mind to see it with your naked eye, because I know I couldn't do that. I mean, I can pick up a couch, not like pick it up over my shoulders, but with somebody helping, we can move it from one side of the room to the other, but we can't throw it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We can't throw that. We would tear rotator cuff after rotator cuff trying to throw it. And these things go flying at will. I mean, one time me and Tina were trying to have our own EVP session. And a bar stool, which was right behind us, we were talking in a voice recorder trying to ask the spirits what they wanted. Could they be quiet? And the bar stool that was right behind us went flying across the room.
Now, what was the conversation you and Tina started to have then? Were you about to hit the panic button then and leave, or were you thinking there's another way to deal with this, or were you hoping it would just sort of go away like it did and it was quiet for so long.
Well, when the activity came back in spring of 2014, one of the things we started doing again was reaching out to the local churches. And we found one. It was a local parish in Bothel, because there was a fire that happened in the home, a poster caught fire. I was taking a shower. Tina just went to work, and something happened in my office, and a poster caught fire, and something literally ran past me in the hallway and ran out the front door, totally invisible. You couldn't see it, but it was just the force and the magnitude of it. So we were pretty much scared that day, and me and Tina made the decision to go sit in the local parish office, because we're not going to leave the Catholic Church until somebody talks to us and sees us, because up until now, everybody's been giving us the runaround. We've called church after church, and they said, leave a message, leave a message, leave a message. And I mean, I just had 2 fire trucks at my house, and they're looking at a poster and they're scratching their heads saying, how did that poster catch on fire? Tina was on the highway on the way to work. House is filled with smoke. I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm shocked, scared, bewildered, and whatever. And somebody's going to see us, and it's got to be the priest. I mean, if they say they do this is what they do, we got a case for them. And he did see us. We stayed there about 5 to 6 hours and finally got sought. And he came up with a game plan. And the game plan was, because we asked him, is this house worth saving? Should we just cut our losses now? And he was really honest, and we thought he was. He says, no, we can beat this thing. You guys stay where you are. You got to be steadfast. It's not going to be easy. We were referred to him by the Seattle parish. They said the Bothel parish, the guy specifically handles these sort of cases within the Puget Sound, Pacific Northwest. And he seemed to know his craft. He was saying all the right things. And so he would come to the house and make weekly, or not weekly, but periodic visits, blessing the house, holding communion, holding mass. He gave us prayers to say. He gave us homework and things to do. And we thought, okay, as long as we got somebody backing us officially, we'll stay. Me and Tina said, we'll fight the good fight. But at the same time, we were still naive because we didn't know what the good fight was.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, because you're hearing one thing from this priest, this Catholic priest, who's saying, "Oh, stick it out. We got the game plan." I would assume he said something to the effect that he's dealt with things like this before, right?
Yeah, he's dealt with things like this before, and there's nothing gained by running. And he said, if I thought y'all couldn't beat this thing, of course, I would tell y'all to move. Of course, the final decision is always ours. But we thought we had you got a coach in your corner. Okay, we can do this. We're under no illusion that it's going to be easy. He said there's no silver bullet for these things. But at the same time, we were and we're still new to the paranormal. And the only person who knows how far this is going to go is the spirits in the home. And they're not revealing their cards to us. I mean, we have not even, from me and Tina's standpoint, when we went to set his office, I think it was in April of 2014, we have not even scratched the surface or seen the worst that they can do. This is just all preliminary stuff. So, I mean, we didn't know that.
So clearly, I'm just assuming, probably rightfully so, and correct me if I'm wrong, but all that homework, coaching, blessing the house, communion, mass, it didn't have any effect, clearly. And here's another question to throw in with that. Did anything happen while any of these masses, communions, blessings, or any other sort of prayers or anything was what you were doing or the priest was doing or collectively were doing that while those were happening, this spirit was, or whatever you were going to call it until we get to the definition, was doing something back?
Well, the adverse reaction to the communion and mass from these spirits' standpoint was, let's just be quiet, let the priest or whoever does he want to do, let him get out of here. Okay, he's gone now. Okay, we can go back to terrorizing Keith and Tina. The house will be quiet for maybe 48 to 72 hours after any sort of cleansing ceremony. I will say that much. The house felt light. It felt clear. And the priest told us, they said, hey, I'm not coming in here. I'm not going to wave a wand or open up a Bible, and these things are going to run out here on day one. When I leave, odds are they're still going to be here. Some. He used the word some. But he said it's a long process. We'll take it. I do something, the ball's back in their court. We'll see how they react. We'll see, and if they react, we'll meet whatever their reaction is with what we want to do. So that was the game plan, and that's what we were doing. Interesting enough, though, there were times when the priest would, he's praying, he's saging, he's putting holy water or olive oil on certain parts of the house. He's sanctifying the home. You did hear knocks and crannies and crooks and subtle bangs and whatnot. And during the ceremony, he said before the ceremony, it's not his role to acknowledge that during the ceremony, because that's why they're doing it, to throw him off kilter, if you will. But he said that is supposed to happen. I mean, if we all gravitate to the upstairs, odds are the spirits are all going to gravitate to the downstairs. That's just what they do. So, yeah, we would hear noises coming on the opposite sides of the house when we're over in this room cleansing it. But he would always say that's supposed to happen, that's going to happen. I mean, it's not so much like in Hollywood where the priest comes in and, oh my God, the couch starts going all over the place, or, his robe gets covered over his eyes, or it's not like that. But, yeah, it was just interesting to see those subtle noises and subtle bangs during his ceremony sometimes.
Now, how long were you working with this priest before things started getting worse? And before it gets to that point where the priest finally gives up, and obviously if you could throw both in this story, that would be great.
Well, sadly to say, we worked with him for about a year and 3 months. We gave up on him because, keep in mind, and this is explained in greater detail in the book, but I'll just paraphrase it. Maybe after his third try, and the activity ratcheting up a lot, he just wasn't consistent enough. It became a chore just to update him on the latest activity. He told us early on that everything he does and says and all the trips he's making, he's keeping meticulous notes and records, and he's talking to his bishop about our case. We later learned, because he was a no-call, no-show a few times and went MIA, to where Tina finally she thought she was within her perimeter to contact his bishop. And when she contacted the bishop, he was totally oblivious to what was going on in the house. He had not heard about our case, our house. The priest had not been updating him. He said he would get in contact with the priest to get up to speed. But then after that, we never heard from both of them again.
Now, I hate to say this about a priest, but it sort of sounds to me like he started to give up on you guys, almost like let you deal with it on your own. I mean, were you getting that sort of feeling? We
were getting that feeling. We didn't want to get it. We were sort of in denial at first because, we're stressed out, and now we're almost in the thick of it, and we're at the stage now where if he cuts us loose, now, meaning the priest, all we got are the spirits, and they know that. They're like, okay, you're back in our corner now. Your help has abandoned you. They're going to be super emboldened. Me and Tina are now more sleep deprived. We're irritable. It's starting to put a strain on our relationship. And you call somebody so many times, you leave voicemail after voicemail, you get frustrated. Or you come home and say, hey, did you call Father so-and-so today? Oh, I forgot. I had a meeting that went over. You didn't call him. You told me you was going to call him. And then you had that back and forth. Well, if he would show up every now and then, I wouldn't have to call him. And you have all this back and forth, and boom, boom, boom. Or a couch starts flying. Just from that little conversation me and Tina had about who called the priest today, and the spirits are on it. They're on it because they're like, yeah, he's gone. He's gone. You guys are us now. Yeah. It's always been that way. And you're isolated.
Now, you said this priest had worked for you for 15 months, and he started in 2014, which means he went through one night that you had so much activity, so heinous, as you said, that you literally devoted an entire chapter to the night of October 31st through the night of November 1st of 2014. Now, leading up to that, was there anything so much severe that would have put it on a different level before the 31st, which really topped it off, or was it just continuous like what you're saying?
Well, the Halloween night, me and Tina had so much activity the whole month of October, the whole month of September, and all that summer before that. We have 3 Bibles have caught fire already. Objects have been thrown already. The wall writings we haven't yet talked about, but we will, has already started. And this night of all nights was the night that we it's Halloween. We're not staying in this house. Not because we thought something would happen. We didn't even think of that. We was just we deserve a night out. We deserve a shore leave. Okay, let's go be amongst our friends. Let's go hang out and leave this crazy house as it is. We come back maybe 2 a.m.-ish that night, and I walk in the front door. The house looks like Hurricane Category 4, Category 5 had just ran through it. Every couch and love seat is upside down. All the contents in the kitchen have been emptied. All the wine in the wine rack has been realigned and pulled out. Items are destroyed and broken. We've seen all this stuff before, but it was very interesting. There were some new things added. There was a water puddle on the kitchen floor. At that time, I knew water puddles are not a good sign. There was a book that neither me and Tina owned that was resting on the kitchen table. Looked like it belonged to one of the previous tenants. I still haven't went upstairs, and I was sort of scared to go upstairs. I didn't want Tina to go upstairs because she would just freak out. So I went upstairs first. The room I always go to first is my office, because office is like ground zero for all the activity. And true enough, in my office, there's these new wall writings of 666, several stick figures or symbols of an upside down man. There's a scissor stabbed into the head of the upside down man, the scissors I used to shave with.
Wow.
All my photographs, meaning my photographs of me that I've owned for 20 odd years from graduation on up, that I didn't even know I had anymore, that were tucked away in boxes and crates, are resting on my computer desk, and every one of the photographs of my face is burnt out. Only my face. If I'm in a photograph with mom, dad, brother, and sister, Keith's face is burnt out in every photo. They even go a step further and put one of the photos, the scissors that was stabbed into the wall, is also, it's like a thumbtack. They use the scissor as a thumbtack and stab through a photo and put the photo on the wall. That's in the middle or the base of the stick figure man. They got words written on the wall. They got 666 and other things, upside down cross. They got another Bible turned over. They got the chairs turned over. Computer desk monitors turned over, destroyed. And the master bedroom is a mess. And that was all on Halloween night.
Now, that is just a lot for me to swallow from everything you said. Everything from the 666 on the wall to this figure, upside down figure with your scissors in the head of it. But the freakiest thing to me is your pictures. 20 years of them, literally all of them, just you. I think if I was in the position, Keith, I would be scared, because I know that this thing is targeting me, not just humans, but me. Is that how you started to feel?
Yeah, and that's the pivot point, because to be honest, that's when it started targeting me. Around November, December 2014, up until that point, it's always been, we're targeting the house, we're targeting the area around you and Tim. We just want to We're scaring you guys, making it hard for you to sleep, making it difficult for you to live in this house. Now, from that point on, it's we're going to target whatever room Keith is in. Now, every photo of my face was burnt out. And yeah, it was started. I mean, Tina broke down in tears because you have your man, and we both knew what that meant. Because keep in mind, we've been researching online, and we did have the priest for almost a year, or a little bit over a year up until that time, to tell us to say, when these things get worse, the thing you don't want it to do, the thing we're trying to prevent from happening is one of you being targeted. Okay, because when one of you starts being targeted more than the other, yeah, that's not a good thing. We're sort of losing a battle, if you will. And yeah, so now it's drawing multiple wedges by targeting me in whatever room and it did. I mean, whatever room I'm in. I mean, you're talking now. It's November now. It's near Thanksgiving. It's near Christmas. I walk into a room. I walk out of a room. Objects are being thrown at me in whatever room I'm in. Lights go off and on, whatever room I'm in. TVs go off and on, whatever room I'm in. Sheets get yanked off me in the middle of the night while sleeping. I'm an IT project manager, so I travel 20% or 25% of the time out the year. I'm now sleeping in hotels across the country, and I kid you not, I'm having sheets yanked off me in hotel rooms. I'm having my laptop slammed shut in the middle of the night while I'm asleep on my desk in my hotel room. They can never seem to get the Wi-Fi to work in the room that I'm in when I'm visiting on business in a hotel. The bed poking and prodding, the mattress indentations, the pulsating mattress, the pillow being yanked. All that's happening in conjunction with everything I just told you when we began this interview, because they don't stop what they've previously done. They just add on to it. It's never we move on to something new. It's now we're adding on. We're piling on.
So you had everything that was originally happening, like the missing stuff, the locking of the doors, and all this on top of it.
Yeah, all this on top of it. This doesn't negate that. This just means, hey, this is all happening. So Tina will leave for work. And if Tina leaves for work and I'm still trying to get my stuff, because we had a protocol when it was targeting me for a while, we leave at the same time.
Yeah, I would
sometimes
think so.
If we had a rough night and I'm just tired, I need that extra wink of sleep because they're beating us down. I'm like, hey, Tina, just go. I got it. I don't got it. No. Tina's pulled out the driveway. I'm taking a shower. A Bible gets thrown in the shower with me.
In the shower?
In the shower. In the shower, yeah. That's on my YouTube channel. Or the door slams shut and they turn the light off while I'm taking a shower. Tina's long gone. Or I go downstairs and all the couches and love seats have been rearranged. Or they've thrown an ironing board. And even worse, and this is also this story of I get dressed, I put my dress shirt on. It's got maybe 8 or 9, 10, 11 buttons on it. I go downstairs and grab my laptop bag. By the time I touch the doorknob of my front door to head out the house, all my buttons are gone.
Your buttons?
My buttons on my shirt. My shirt flings open. Mind you, there's no buttons on the floor. It's not like somebody walked by and just jerked your shirt and tore all your buttons off your shirt. No, my buttons are gone. The buttons are missing. They're gone. They're gone. And that happened a few times. You iron your clothes and lay your clothes out on the bed while you go take a shower. You come out the shower, you shave, you go to retrieve your clothes, and your clothes are hanging upside down on the wall. They've been nailed to the wall, and they're hanging upside down.
Again, this is all with everything else going on, which to me, I would have flipped out for sure. Now, when you said you're traveling a quarter of the time, and so you're in a hotel and things like sheets were coming off you and other things, how are you coping it? You're alone. You're far away from home.
Yeah.
You would think it's attenuated because it's the distance. But they've already made the overt act, or it made the overt act to target you, which was shown through the photograph, which what I'm guessing from what you've been telling me is that it didn't happen to Tina. They chose you over her to remove your face from these photographs. So again, back to my original question: when you were alone, how are you coping with all this going on?
High blood pressure, hypertension, irritable, sleep deprived, tired, finger pointing. You're almost to the point. I mean, at this point, every day is like a Monday. You ever have one of those crawl out of bed like, I should have just stayed in bed?
Yes.
I mean, everything you do, you grab a glass of water, you try to drink and the glass cracks in your hand. It's just every day is a Monday times 10. And you're sort of feeling like, I mean, when I start having activity in hotel rooms when I'm 400, 500, 800, 1100 miles away, you start to be hopeless starts setting in because you're thinking, well, I'm not even at home anymore. You know, I can sort of, because me and Tina, sometimes we'll go sleep in a hotel. Sometimes we would break and like, we're just going to do it. We're not dealing with this tonight. We're going to get a hotel and we would get a good night's sleep. But now it's in the hotel with me. You know, I've been on a plane for 4 hours. I've gone through airport security and I've gone through da-da-da-da-da. And this thing is like, sheets yanked off your bed. And this is not, you had a wild night and you just wake up and your sheets are on the floor. No, your sheets are yanked off the bed and they're on the other side of the room.
Was that fear in you that you were sort of afraid to go to sleep, where you were possibly wondering, what the heck is this going to do next? Or is the next thing it's going to do going to harm me? Or is it just going to scare me more?
Going to harm you, because now going back to what you asked earlier about how far or close are those objects coming towards you, now the objects are coming close to me. Now, me and Tina, 2012, 2014, early, they rarely threw stuff across the bed, meaning diagonally or horizontally while we were sleeping. They would throw it in the hallway or the foot of the bed. Now, when I'm in the bed, especially if I'm in the bed alone, hotel, home, it don't matter, they throw it horizontally or vertically or whatever across the bed while you're sleeping. I'm going back to the iron. I'm going back to those white candles. These are glass candles. These are now projectiles. I'm going to cologne bottles. Men cologne bottles are pretty big.
Thick too.
Thick glass. You don't ever want to have one thrown, and they're thrown. When they hit the lamp, they bust the lamp up. I mean, that lamp vase or whatever. If it bears the brunt of what object flew across the bed, that lamp is destroyed. But these things are coming within, grazing me. I mean, one time the light was, it was pitch black in the room. And me and Tina had an argument, so she was sleeping in the other room. And I was scared, but I had to get to sleep. And I was trying to sleep with one eye open the entire night, but you know how that works. That's never going to work. So I fell asleep, and all of a sudden, my eyes died open because I'm like, I feel like I'm not alone in the room anymore. It feels like a force or an energy has just set foot in the room with me, and the room is pitch black. And I'm looking around, surveying the area, and I look toward my left, toward the lamp shade. And as soon as I look toward the lampshade, something zooms across the bed, grazes my chin. I feel the warmth of it. It was very warm, and hits the lamp and busts it up into pieces. I jump out of bed, turn on the ceiling fan light, and it was my cologne bottle.
Huh. Wow.
And both cologne bottles still intact. The lamp it hit is obliterated.
Yeah, I would think so, because again, going back to what we're saying, these are not just the heavy bottles. They're heavy because they're thick. I mean,
they're thick.
They're almost made to not break on dropping. That's the impression I get.
Yeah, and the speed, I'm talking about immense speed. I couldn't throw a bottle that fast. I mean, it was
you talking like baseball player,
Yeah, I'm talking about
Major League Baseball, 95 miles an hour or something
90 or above, yeah. I mean,
wow.
Just that speed. Wow. And, we've seen objects get lodged in the walls. We've seen beer bottles thrown in our house to get lodged.
Lodged? Beer bottles get lodged?
Yeah, the beer bottles get lodged.
Shatter in the glass, you're saying, get stuck in there?
Yeah, the beer bottle hits the wall, or it's traveling across the room or the hallway or my office. Most of them got thrown in my office. And when they hit that, I don't know what they call it, sheetrock or whatever that drywall is or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They just get cuffed and trapped in that wall. They leave an imprint. And you see this, they just zoom by like a zip by your eye, or a whistle. Most of the time it's a whistle when your back's turned, and you hear that loud clash. And,
yeah.
And you just turn around and you say, "Whoa!" And then you find a projectile in your wall.
Now, this is something that I definitely want to throw out for the people who have been asking about the videos and are really glued to your story before we go to break. Is, can you mention your YouTube channel and spell it out for everyone who wants to possibly follow along as we're going through these different incidents that you have documented?
Yeah, so I won't give everybody the long URL because it's impossible with YouTube. I mean, it's a long URL, but just go to youtube.com and type in Keith space L. My YouTube channel is Keith L. And you'll see. I mean, it's Demons in Seattle. It's Poltergeist of Washington State. Some videos talk about the shadowy figures. What I tell people, if you want to really study the videos on my YouTube channel, start from the oldest video to the newest, because this is a chronological timeline. I post things as they occur, and as we're talking tonight about things sort of ratcheting up and crescendoing over time, that's how you're going to feel when you watch my videos. There's two videos, probably the oldest videos on there, or within, I think, a few weeks of me and Tina living in the house. And you just see, well, actually it's the spring of 2014 when the activity just returning, and you just sort of see the lights go off and on, and we're kind of asking each other, "Hey, are you doing that? Are you doing that? I appreciate you stop playing with the lights." We're talking to each other, and the hallway, the condition of the hallway then is pristine, as it should be. But as you get deeper into the other videos and you start seeing our moods change, and the hallway is starting to take a brunt of the action of the abuse, because by then the poltergeist or whoever are throwing objects at us and me at the hallway. You see us starting to do repairs and paint over this, paint over that. Furniture that used to sit over here is now sitting over there. Some furniture is just broken. You don't even see them anymore. So yeah, go from oldest to new. And there's over 600 videos there. So it's not a quick bam, one night type thing. And there's not really one video I can point you to say, "Hey, go to that video and check that out." Because
there's so many.
There's so many of them. And each one, this is not Hollywood. You're not going to go to my YouTube channel and see a couch float across the room or levitate or an object break in midair. No, you're not going to see that. These spirits are not going to allow me to capture that on video. Therefore, they're not going to allow you to see it. They don't want that. They do this stuff for the house occupants' eyes only. But there's still enough phenomena there and evidence captured by me and other paranormal teams from the US and the UK that you can actually see, whoa, that, this and that. There's EVPs on there. There's shadows on there. There's shadow figures on there, images, all that, not captured by me, but by organizations that came in that lived in the house, and they found that stuff. And it just, I made copies of whatever they found, and I put them on YouTube. But it's in chronological order.
Now, I'm going to take a quick break real quick, but I just want two small things because I want to pick up when we get back. Now, we know what happened, obviously, on the night where it really turned horrendous to you in every sort of way. And we talked about things, how it started to follow you. Obviously, it was targeting you. Are we still in the end of 2015, right before or 2014 into Christmas? Yeah. Okay, got it. And the final thing I want to ask you is, when I'm going to get back and we'll go into more detail this, when your US and UK teams, the paranormal teams, the ghost hunters, all those people were looking into this, aside from capturing shadow figures and EVPs, did they capture any apparitions?
Let's see. I've seen apparitions. They didn't catch any apparitions on video or on camera. They caught unexplained shadows, and that's on the YouTube channel. They caught those. They caught motion, or they have motion detection equipment go off, and there are a few snapshots of what they classify as unexplained shadows that have the form of a human being, or a torso, I should say, head, shoulder, and whatever. And they got plenty of those. The UK team did, and the US team did. A lot of EVPs, a lot of what they consider or call, and I didn't know this term at the time, Class A, Class B EVPs of conversations. The spirits are having conversations about the investigations or the investigators who are conducting an investigation. You hear the spirits murmuring, talking, snickering, trying to guess or name this equipment and all that. A ton of that is on the YouTube channel, and a ton of that is what both teams found.
Now, I want to pick up all this when we get back. Everybody stay tuned. We have a quick 3.5 minutes. Keith and everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back in a short time, and much more with Mr. Keith Linder and what was happening to him in the Bothel House in Seattle, Washington. Hang tight, folks. We'll be right back.
There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall.
Data. The sensors can't penetrate the planet's ionosphere. There's too much interference. Can you find a way to scan for life forms?
I would be happy to, sir. I just love scanning for life forms. Life forms. You tiny little life forms. You precious little life forms. Where are you?
Even the ETs know this is the place to be. L&M Radio Network.
You can listen to the L&M Radio Network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through the Paranormal Radio app. Available from lnmradionetwork.com or TalkStreamLive.com on both Android and Apple. Our call to listen line is open 24/7. Dial 701-719-9704 so you can listen on the go.
Ever wanted to be sure your robot slave was behaving? Is Echo getting out of control and meeting with Alexa when you're not around? You need RoboGrog. RoboGrog is the new product from Snooze You Lose, the company that also brought you the fine products of Flog a Horse and Calm You Down Now. RoboGrog will put your robotic minions to sleep, bringing their AI a sense of peace and comfort. It does this by sending bolts of electricity straight where the sun doesn't shine. Get RoboGrog today at any fine retailer and set yourself free from the devices that bind you.
You can't just throw someone into prison and silence their warning because you don't agree with them. You don't have to like my methods or what I stand for. Silencing me won't make the problem go away. It will just whittle away at the ability of people to be ready for the real threats. And when the worst happens, and it will, maybe you can take comfort in protecting the people from a dangerous radical who wanted to tell them the truth.
Tired of searching for great talk and great information? Look no more. L&M Radio Network, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Back home, there's a growing pro-Earth movement. Rumors of hate groups targeting aliens. And on all sides, the fanatics. think that society has to be protected against anyone who's different. I'm starting to wonder if what we just saw is a preview of things to come.
No, I can't believe we'd be that foolish.
Santayana. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Welcome back to the second half of Dr. J Radio Live. As you know, the show is internationally syndicated. That's right, in the U.S. via Late Night, the Midlands, and the local affiliates in the AM and FM, as well as the Program Radio Network in the United Kingdom and their affiliates as well. And on Tuesdays, Black Swamp Digital Radio as well. So we've been speaking to Keith Linder about the craziest experiences I've ever heard of a victim of any sort of spirit in any sort of way. This has really gone so much overboard. If you caught the show on late, you've definitely been hearing what Keith has been talking about, because I see your comments going through it, that you truly are as frightened as I am and are as bewildered as I am about what's been happening. Keith, before you went to the break, we were mentioning a few things. First of all, the priest worked on you for 15 months. It didn't seem like he was getting to the bishop. And, of course, you guys realized you got to do something else. You had the U.S. and the UK teams which started to come over and capture EVPs and shadow figures. And you said something that was really telling. You said that they captured conversations of spirits talking, because up until now, I gotta say, Keith, that I thought that this might be still one demon that clearly imitated a child in the beginning, but now was a malevolent being. So can you briefly tell us what some of these conversations were about? I mean, were they even in English?
Yeah, and one of the things that me and Tina always sort of thought, especially after living in the house 2 years, it just always felt like there was more than one spirit, because I've seen shadowy figures, and by shadowy figures I don't mean my height, your height. I mean, like, for lack of a better word, gremlin height. Okay?
Wow.
That's the point that, Teddy Ruxpin height. And those I've seen, they pierce around corners, they creep across the doorway. They look, and when you look toward that direction, they hide. They retreat behind a wall, or behind a door. Those things. Also, the two female apparitions that I did see, year one and year two of living in the house, or actually year two living in the house, was the female apparition I called the Gray Lady and the White Lady, only because the first time I saw her, she was all gray. She's not translucent. She's not transparent. She's solid. When she walks through the hallway, she actually has what I call gravity in her walk, because you hear the footsteps. Same thing can be said about the White Lady. She's all white. She's not transparent. She's not translucent. She's not see-through. And both of them are identical except for their color.
Is it color of dress, color of skin, color of everything? Everything.
She's wearing a dress. She's got shoulder length hair, 5'6" maybe. I put her at about 119, barely 120 pounds, very thin, very petite. The first time I saw her was summer of 2012 in my office. She just hit the light switch in my office. I heard the click that the light switch makes when you click it off. And I turned toward the direction. She was standing there. She took off running in the hallway. I didn't know what I was seeing at the time. I thought it was Tina playing a joke on me. And I got up and gave chase. When I turned the corner, of course, it was gone. But it was not Tina, because Tina was in the bathtub taking a bubble bath. And when Tina saw me, she even said it looked like I've seen a ghost, and I did. 2 years later, I would see that same, or what appeared to be the same lady, but now she's all white. And this time she's not turning my lights off. I'm in my office, and I hear the sound of what sounds like leaves or paper rustling coming from the hallway. Tina's in the driveway outside. This is a summer afternoon, vacuuming her car. So I know where Tina's at. I can hear her right outside my office window. From the hallway is a loud rustling noise. So I turn toward the direction of the noise, and the white lady has not even appeared yet. The noise is getting louder as it's coming toward my office. So I know something's coming towards me or coming through the hallway. I just don't know what it is. And finally, true enough, it turns the corner, and there it is the white apparition. I know it better this time because I'm facing straight at the door. And she didn't make eye contact. She goes into the room to my right, to the guest bedroom on the right side of my office. And she's holding something, but I can't make it out because everything on her is all white. And that noise is like rustling. If you ever walk through a park this time of year, it'd be a perfect time. All that rustling the leaves make. And that's what I heard maybe 10 seconds before she passed by my doorway. So yeah, when the UK guys came and when the US teams came and they were picking up EVPs, the interesting thing, they were picking up all kinds of EVPs, but the one that stood out the most were the ones with conversations. And it's not like most EVPs where you hold a voice recorder up in the air and you ask the air a question and you get a response back. These are EVPs are coming back on the audio and video recordings that they have just running 24/7 in the house. Regardless of whatever we're doing, something's recording sound or video in the house. They make a point to review all footage the next day, and when they did, that's when they picked up these voices. And the voices they picked up are two male voices talking, because one of the voices I use as an example is when Steve Merritt, parapsychologist Steve Merritt out of the UK, and Don Phillips are setting up equipment in the hallway where they're filming themselves, and when they go review the footage 12 hours later, you hear these murmurs and whispers underneath Steve and Don's voice. Now, you know Steve and Don's voice easy because they're talking out loud, they're setting up equipment, and they have British accents. The voices under theirs don't have British accents, but there's two male voices, and you can hear them, and they're talking about what it is that Steve and Don are doing. And one of them even says, "It's a camera. It's a camera." He says it 3 times. And then there's a pause, and then you hear this weird tap, 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 tap. And then the other voice says, "Night cam." And
wow.
That's on multiple devices. That's on audio devices. They have voice recorders in the hallway stationed. And that's on several of the video equipment. So they can, they try to, debunk and see where the sound, or triangulate where the sound is coming up. It's coming up on every equipment in the hallway. And it's clear. That's on my YouTube channel as well as many others. And these conversations, once I started hearing them, I started realizing how me and Tina were in our home, just minding our own business, and how sometimes I would be in my office and I hear my name Keith called. And I would come out of my office and go find Tina, and I'd be like, "Hey, what do you want? Did you call me?" And Tina would look at me like, "I didn't call you." I'm like, "Yeah, you did. I just heard you. You was outside my door." And the switched roles, she would come at me sometimes. "Hey, what do you want?" I'm like, "I didn't call you." And that me and Tina would experience that a lot, but we didn't know what that meant or pinpoint it. Male, female, child voice, you name it. We've heard that. Sleep, awake, typing at the keyboard in your office, channel surfing, whatever, taking a shower, whatever, these voices. And just so your listeners will know, the first time Steve Maradon came to the house, they stayed a week. They lived in the house. They lived there. And they left with over 436 EVPs. 85% of them are Class A. The rest are Class B. The rest they just threw away. Anything below a Class B, they don't even keep. They just toss it in the trash. But Steve's been doing this for 35 years, and I've talked to enough investigators to know you never leave a house with 400 some EVPs, but they did. And they vet them, they put them through multiple vetting channels, the colleagues and other peers in the paranormal community. And individuals can go online and listen to these EVPs. Some of them we found did have Irish accents because Bothel, Washington, back in the 1800s, was heavily populated with Irish settlers. And some of the EVPs had Irish accents, male and female.
I have a quick question here from Adrag Studios, and of course we're going to jump back into the details you said here. For the record, has Keith kept some of the cologne brand scent since these events?
About kept what?
The same cologne brand. Have you been buying the same ones that were broken and thrown?
Yeah, I'm a creature of habit. I mean, I like a cologne. I like a fragrance, whether it's been thrown or not thrown. I mean, I rotate, but yeah, that brand I still have. I don't have that same bottle, but I have that brand, yeah.
Now, again, I'm going to go to some of the things you just said. First of all, 436 EVPs, 85% which are Class A. I know that is a phenomenal number. And 15% Class B. I mean, clearly, most of these 436 are of the most serious kind. If the UK team was doing this for 35 years, and I would assume the U.S. team for quite some time, what were their conclusions to you? What did they say, that this was the craziest they've ever seen, the most active they've ever seen, things like that?
Yeah, both the U.S. team, Nikki Novell and Carissa Fleck, they lived in the house for a month total. And yeah, they said everybody said, regardless of their independent investigation, without seeing each other's notes, all said this is nothing they've seen before, because there was so many categories in that house. Some of the evidence pointed to residual haunting. Some of the evidence pointed to poltergeist / intelligent haunting. Some of it pointed to, we don't like to use the word that much, but demonic or demonic in nature. A lot of the evidence, I mean, you can really go multiple ways with, depending on the evidence you had holding in your hand, go to several theories that are out there about the paranormal. The crux of it, from Steve Marra's notes and from his experience, this seems to be a combination of landlocked phenomena, as he coined it, LIH, local intelligent haunting, in conjunction with poltergeist-related activity. The thing that sort of turns the paranormal community upside down in regards to poltergeist is, because what we think we know today about poltergeist is, we think poltergeist activity is always associated with an agent. You have to have an agent in the home that's sort of subconsciously or unconsciously the center of the activity, or the one causing the activity. Well, we know through research that a previous family was having activity as well 5 years before we moved there. We know that. That's been documented, that the previous tenants have been interviewed. They've gone on record to say the house was living hell for them too. So that slaps the poltergeist theory in the face a little bit. Not all the way, but a little bit. Also, we know that the two apparitions that I was telling you about earlier, the gray lady and the white lady, in my book, I dedicate 2 chapters to them because they look like the previous tenant, the wife, the housewife, the mom. That's who they look like. She's alive, though. She was alive at that time. And I didn't know that at first until I found it. It took me 2.5 years to finally get a hold of a previous tenant. But we were trying for 2 years, but I finally found one. And I was finally be able to compare faces, because when you see an apparition and you see it twice, by then I've already spoken and talked to the previous tenant once. And I'm like, that's her. And then when she told me what happened to the house to them while they were living there, and they were only in the house for less than a year, and they just got the heck out of Dodge. But she said the house was a living hell. It was a turmoil for them. She tried to commit suicide 4 times in the house.
Ooh, geez.
Her son got sick, or was sick in the home. He got meningitis, mysterious case of meningitis. He was on deathbed several times in the house. He told her, this is before he and I even mentioned the word to her, that he saw shadowy figures. His bedroom was my office. Where I saw majority of the shadow figures was my office, which was once his bed 5 years before I moved there. So these things coincide with the EVP and the high EMF readings and other stuff that they caught, Steve Murray, Don Phillips, and Nick and Carissa and other teams. Yeah, I mean, it just blew everybody's mind. It still does. I mean, the haunting thing to me, and I was sort of glad that both teams saw this, because I can only explain so much and tell so much, but I always liked it when they saw stuff themselves. And,
oh, yeah, I would think so, yeah.
And when they saw an object move by itself, or specifically when Nikki Novell put her hand on the bed and felt the heartbeat coming from the mattress. She has her own YouTube channel, her own interview segment where she narrates that whole experience from her as an investigator, because I've been screaming that song for 2 years, and she just so happened to be in the house one day. I was upstairs taking a nap, and I start feeling the pulsating and the poking and the prodding coming through the mattresses. So if an investigator's in the house, you're going to call them. So I called her, hey, come upstairs. I think I got something. And I was fearful that they were going to stop when she got there. I was like, I know they're going to stop beating through the mattress the minute she walks through that door. I just know they're going to do that. But they did it. And Nikki put her hand there, and she felt the heartbeat at the foot of the bed, where majority of my sheets get tugged off the bed at, and she felt it. Steve Mayer had a similar experience, and it's in his documentary, him and Dawn's, to where they put motion detector and sensors all over my bed, because they're trying to see if my claim is true. What's going on with Keith's bed? They sealed the room off, which I've never seen an investigative team do before. I know they do that, but I've never seen one do that before, let alone my house. But they sealed the room off, and they got cameras inside, cameras outside, and we're all downstairs. The alarms go off in the room. Everybody responds to the room, descends on the room at the same time. They cut the seal tape. We enter the room. Those motion detection devices are now on the floor.
Wow.
On the floor. They're not on the bed. They document them putting them on the bed. Everybody's vouching for each other. We check. They got a clipboard. Check. You put it there. Okay, I see how you got it situated. It's sturdy. It's not flimsy. It's not going to fall off. Check. Okay, you sealing the room off. Check. Everybody see the room is sealed. Nobody's in the room. Okay, we're going to depart. We're leaving the hallway. Come back. Alarms going off. Picking up high EMF readings in this corner of the room. Why is these motion detectors on the floor now? They caught that. They did.
Now, let me ask you this. This goes back to something I asked you originally, that when you and Tina first were looking at the house, you had no inclination that anything was happening. Yet, when you found the tenants from 5 years before that had these hauntings or these activities going on, why do you think the person who sold you the house didn't know? I would think that people running out of the house and just giving it up, it would sort of be documented. I mean, was he just trying to pull a fast one on you, or was someone in the chain of the custody of the house or the title of the house literally just decided to scrub it off because of the money that was invested and pass it on to you?
Yeah, my gut instincts, and I tell people just going off my gut and what I know and my reactions with the homeowner when we went to him with the activity, and we have to get his permission to have the house investigated, because we have to get his permission. It's his house. We're just renters. And his response each time we went with him about the activity taking place, about the mass media coverage, about the teams that are traveling half a world away that's going to descend, that attracts all kind of attention, good and bad. His response was always nonchalant, thumbs up, I give you free reign to have the house investigated. And he even said it, not me, when I sent him all the evidence of everything that caught fire, all the damage, the furniture, and everything. He even said in his email, I wrote him a 3 or 4, 5-page email when I was just bringing him up to speed about the hard time me and Tina were having. His response to me was maybe 3 or 4 sentences long. He closed his short paragraph with, it's probably some spirits in there that are misbehaving. They might just be a little bit upset, but I'm paraphrasing, of course, but yeah, you have my permission, have the teams go in there and just keep me updated. Now, the thing that I tell people, and it's true, that I tell people, and I know me, if I was to own a home or to rent it out to people, and we lived there 4 years, okay? We lived there from May to 2012 to May to 2016. How many times do you think he came to the house during that time frame? As a homeowner?
0, 1, 2, none?
0.
Yeah, none. Yeah, 0, none. That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. If you're telling him about this and he still owns the house, obviously at some point after you guys move out, he's still got equity, he's got money in it. Why would he not want to pay attention to something like this? I would think
if I had,
as a landlord, you want to make sure this place is secure for future. This is you
even
invest in a
curiosity home. Of if you told me, hey, I just had the fire department in your house and we just had a fire in your office. I live at Tipperary. Your office, fire trucks were out the yin yang in front of your house. EMT, da 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 da. I would think you just want to poke around just to see if I'm on the up and up. If me and Tina are on the up and up. Maybe we're nefarious. Maybe you read us wrong when you approved us. Maybe we're meth users. Something. Just curiosity. He never asked to inspect or poke his head around or want to come shake Zach's hand or just say, never. It was always from a distance, and even it felt weird when he came to pick up the keys to the house the day I moved out. It was just weird because so much had happened. And when he walked through the door, it felt so deja vu, except the roles were reversed. I'm like, oh, hey, man, how's it going? He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, wow, man, I haven't seen you in 4 years. Like, yeah, what a 4 years has been. I'm like, you think? And it was just weird because, houses have to be taken care of. There's renovations, there's maintenance. And sometimes homeowners just got to get in. I'm out of town, Tina's out of town. Hey, Keith, they got to do some plumbing. They got to do this. We got to change the air filter and the heater, da-da-da-da-da. No, he would always say, y'all do that and just send me the bill or take it off your month's rent. None of that, especially when this house has been on national, international TV, and it's been broadcast all over Seattle where we both live. And, he was never, but, so I think he knew. I think he knew when we moved into the house, the economy was bad, especially the economy was bad when the previous tenants lived there. And I think you couldn't really sell a house in Puget Sound back then. You would lose money. You would really lose money and try to sell a house. But you could rent one. And a lot of investors were telling the people who own houses was just get another house, rent your current one out, and ride out the storm. And then when the economy turns good again, like it is now, you'll sell your house in no time. And right now, houses average in Seattle 11 days. 14 days. This house sold in 11 days.
Yeah, and you were telling me, all the people that were bidding on it, and again, like you said, all his actions would indicate that he obviously knew, because if the other tenants were having this problem for a year, where it literally caused a son to be sick from bacterial meningitis, right? And The mother tried to commit suicide 4 times. I mean, that's serious enough for a landowner to say something is not right. I don't think it's the tenants being a little loony here, but something bigger must be wrong for them to go try to do such overt acts against themselves. And that just blows my mind that he would do that. Real quick, you mentioned the documentaries that these literally world documentaries that the UK team did. What are the titles of the documentaries they did for your house? And I know when we get in the next 20-ish minutes, I'm going to have you plug in everything again, but just for the people who are paying attention and were very curious about them.
Yeah, so the documentary, because when Steve Mera and Don Phillips came, they came twice, January and April of 2016. The second time they came, they brought Nick Kyle. Nick Kyle at that time was the president of the SSPR. That's the Scotland version of the SPR, one of the oldest paranormal organizations in the world. So they brought him the second time to capture a lot of the phenomena, mainly the wall writings. And they just wanted him to confirm what they were capturing because they were just getting treasure troves of information. So they came both times and they filmed everything. They were not coming with the mindset to make a documentary, but when you leave with that much evidence and got that much video footage, why not? So they made an 1.5-hour documentary, very narrative, and it sort of starts the journey of how I found them and how they came over 6,000 miles. The website where you can access the documentary is on AmericanSupernatural.com, one word.
And again, when we get to the end, in like I said, a little over 20 minutes, I'm going to have you plug it in again. Do you know? Was there another one made from the U.S. team?
Not the U.S. team. The U.S. team didn't film a documentary. They just put all their videos and evidence footage on their YouTube channels, their respective YouTube channels. But all their evidence is also on mine. So if you Google Keith Linder or Keith L., it's all there. The documentary name, meaning Steve and Don's documentary, Don Phillips' documentary, is Demons in Seattle Uncovered. That's the name of it. But if you go to AmericanSupernatural.com, that whole page is about this case, so you can't miss it.
Let's see what he says. Oh, well, here's just a comment again. Sounds to me like the owner was willfully ignorant. These days, though, I would think it would be a house seller if there's paranormal activity going. Actually, that rings a little true to some of the other places. But this right here, my friend, is very on another level. Now, these teams that came over, especially the UK team twice, I think it was the UK team you said twice, did they at all give you some sort of plan of like what to do next, or have you contacted Father Jack Avila by this point? Father Jack Avila Ashcroft, I believe that's his middle name. Just Father Ashcraft. When did that sort of start to come in? Because I do know, unless it's serious enough, I mean, he has when he was on the show, which is literally not too long ago, he was talking about the things that he requires to even go in a place. I mean, if it's a person, he requires a mental check, like a psychological check, a health check, an environmental check, or something's in the house. So I know he has a very high standard before he says, hey, there's something there that I think is possibly demonic influence that we need to work on. So how did you come about contacting him?
Well, a paranormal team out of Spokane, Washington was sort of, I guess, being mentored by Father Ashcroft. And the Spokane team caught wind of my story after the Halloween episode because the local news was at the house and heard loud banging themselves. So at that time, the activity was at its apex. And it had made its way into Spokane, Washington, which is about 400 miles from here. And they knew, so they were sort of the in-between liaison, sending my video, photographs, and whatnot to Father Ashcroft and trying to get him to fly out to Seattle. But I had on my end multiple pots on the stove, if you will, because you're right. There's a process involved to get individuals, especially if they're traveling from afar. There's a lot of resources involved, and there are a lot of false claims out there. me and Tina were having so much activity. It was almost we were at DEFCON 5.
Yeah,
and we were pretty much sleeping on the curb at that time. So had we caught tail of him maybe 2012, maybe. But somehow the communication got garbled and got lost. And at the same time, while I was brewing, I found the UK guys because I was started reading up because I forgot who threw the word out there to me, or I found it myself. Somebody threw out the word Portuguese. Yeah. So I started spending hours in the library reading on Portuguese in the Seattle Library downtown, and better there than here. And one of the names that kept coming up was Steve Mera. So I found an email address, and I started sending him a whole bunch of emails. And it took him a while to respond. And then when he did, he started questioning me. And they put me through that vetting process. The vetting process that they put me through was about 2.5 to 3 months, because we started chatting about October, and they came in January. And they did all the psychological evaluations and all that, the questionnaire and all that, facial interviews and all that, and him and Dawn and other people. So yeah, but by that time, the activity, I would say on a scale of 1 to 5 was a level 2. But it was enough for them to still be interested to come research the Bothel house, because at that time, me and Tina had broke up. Tina was out of there.
Because of this? Because
of this, yeah. One of the things, or the fallout of all this is, yeah, there's a relationship that split as a result of this. So they came. And when they came in January, they stayed. We agreed, and it was a stipulation that they live in the house. I was not going to make the same mistake I made with Ghost Adventures when they came. They were just there for 5 hours and didn't get anything. I wanted the team to live in the house. I'm like, no, you're going to live here. Every Portuguese book I've read about these well-known investigators from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they like to live in the house for months with the family to get to the bottom of it. Well, I knew they weren't going to stay for months, but I was like, you're going to have to live. And they knew that at the offset. They were like, why wouldn't we live in there? And I was like, okay, we're in agreement there. No debate there. You guys are going to live here. And they did. And there's a difference between visiting a house with a clipboard and then living in a house with the clipboard. And the spirits know that. And that's why them and Nikki and others were able to get the evidence that they got. Because, I mean, you're living in the house for a month, these spirits, oh yeah, you're part of the family. Yeah, you're part of the family. We can show our secrets to you. But if you're there for 5 hours, flam bam, thank you, ma'am. Oh no, they're gonna sit it out and wait, and that's what they did. But yeah, they put me through a vetting. Yeah, and that's in the documentary. You see that narration coming from them in the documentary and in the book. Yeah.
You're talking about sci-fi Ghost Adventures, or is it Ghost Hunters? I don't know.
Travel Channel, Ghost Adventures.
Travel Channel, got you. Now, so we're clearly in 2016. Tina is scared enough to leave. How much longer did you end up staying there?
Tina moved out, what was that? Spring of 2015.
Okay.
I didn't move out till May of 2016. I had about a year and 2 months left. I wanted to complete... Tina moved out before the UK and US team came. She moved out after the bad hoopla we caught at the airing of the Ghost Adventures episode, where everybody thought it was all a hoax and all a fake, because, like I said, Ghost Adventures didn't find anything. But she moved out that spring of 2015. I almost moved out, but I was I'm going to double down one more time, and I just started reading about Portuguese. And I found those names, and I was like, okay, I've tried the paranormal community. Let me try the parapsychology community, because I never heard that term before. And parapsychology community seems to embrace or Portuguese or know about the phenomenon a little bit more. It seems more of a discipline with them. And they were receptive about it. I mean, they were very curious, interesting, standoffish at the beginning, because I mean, anybody can make up a claim, but they seem to have a vetting process built in that could filter and weed out the false claims or the hoaxes, and they did. So they agreed to come in January, and then they came back in April when the activity showed signs of picking up again. And I moved out 2 weeks after they left. They left in the middle of April. I moved out the first week of May.
Now, here's a big question because I know this would affect me. After Tina left and you were still there for a year and 2 months, and of course you had teams coming and investigating and staying with you, but the nights you were alone, asleep by yourself, how the heck did you cope with that?
Oh, let me tell you. Naturally, any relationship is bad. It's worse. You feel lower than zero. Me and Tina at that time been together a little bit over 4 years. The house we thought was our heaven was really our hell. But she's gone now. So I'm depressed by the fact that we're broken up. And I'm also depressed by I'm in this house by myself. When you have two people living in the house together, you sort of watch each other's back, if you will.
Yeah, that's what I would think so.
I don't have that anymore. And at that time, I was being targeted. So I was fearful, wait a minute. Now they got what they wanted. I'm isolated now. They can really go after me. So for the first 3-4 months, I didn't sleep upstairs. I slept on the couch downstairs.
Did anything safer for you downstairs? Because you did say that they're always at the opposite of the house. So if you're downstairs, they're upstairs,
they're
right?
Down. Yeah, you hear all the noise and the stomping and going from room to room. That's above your head. My deduction was I'd rather hear it above my head than outside my door.
Yeah.
When I sleep in the bedroom, and keep in mind when you sleep, at least when I'm sleeping on the couch, if I need to get out the house in a second, I might have a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
There's really no chance if I'm sleeping in the bedroom. And if I want, somebody to come, well, we ain't heard from Keith in 2 weeks, let's go check up on him. I want you all to find me in the living room because I don't know what condition I'm going to be in the bedroom. So that was my rule, if you will. And then once these teams start contact, because I'm having contact with, we're doing Skype voicemails and Skype chat, and we're making plans for them to come. Nikki and her team monitored me for 8 months before they flew out here. We erected the cameras again to where it was sort of like a Big Brother CBS episode to where they're watching me or watching the house 24/7 and capturing and documenting all the phenomena that's happening around me. And they got a lot of good stuff. This is even before they set foot in the house. And so that was good. It felt like I had birds in the sky, if you will, watching me. And they were hearing the loud bangs, the objects being thrown, the clackety-clack, and the voices. Because I'll be gone for work or traveling, and they're still monitoring the house. They know Keith is not in the house because Keith is in Spokane. Keith is in Florida. Keith is in California. Why is the house is active when I'm not here? They got cameras in, watching via stream or via Wi-Fi, via cloud, if you will. And finally, when they came, they already pretty much knew the setting of the house. They knew the lay of the land. And the UK guys did the same thing.
Now, let me ask you this, because I know this is a common theme in other homes. When you were downstairs sleeping on the couch, was there ever a time that you had to get up and leave for something, or just in general that you were leaving the house, that you were locked in?
I was locked in when the poster caught fire. Remember I said earlier about me, I was taking a shower.
Yes.
Then I went to work, and the fire alarms go off. I mean, it's frightening to be in the shower and hear your fire alarms.
Oh, yeah, I would think so, yeah.
You're in the house by yourself. So I run out the house, and as soon as I get to my doorway, I feel a force, a presence run past me, and it thunders down the stairs and opens, or the front door opens and slams shut. And I'm in like shock, don't even know what's going on. I give chase and I run to the front door. I don't respond to the fire. I run to the front door thinking I had an intruder in the house, an arsonist. I might not be able to see their face, but I may be able to see the back of them running, leaving my house. Let me do that or get a license plate. I try to open the front door, and the door doesn't even open. It's like cement shut. And I couldn't open it. Then it dawned on me, because the alarms are still ringing. Keith, you got a fire somewhere in the house. Respond to the fire, respond to the fire. I go back upstairs, and true enough, my poster's on fire. I put that fire out, run back downstairs, house is filled with smoke. Go to the front door. It still won't open. I knew then the house is not being attacked. I'm being attacked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Clearly.
Not the house. This is all about you, Keith. And then I grabbed my phone and called 911 because the fire alarms were still ringing. I thought there was another fire in the house that I didn't know about. And I can't get immediately out. And then the 911 lady dispatched the fire department. And then I hang up with her and call Tina. Tina had just made it or barely made it to the highway. And I said, you got to turn around. The house is under attack. I'm being attacked. So, yeah, that door opened a few minutes after that before the fire department arrived. But by then I cracked open the garage door to get the air out or the air in. But another thing you might find interesting, and this happened when Tina was living and happened more after she left, is when I would get up in the morning, it's just me in the house now, and grab my laptop bag, turn on the ADT security system, go to the door that leads into the garage, because now I'm parking my car in the garage, and the garage door is already open. The spirits have already opened the garage door. I haven't even touched the panel next to the door to let the door rise up.
And they
did. And it happened a lot of times when Tina was there. And she would tell me, hey, Keith, the door is up. Or our neighbors would tell us, like, dude, your door is open. Or, Keith, every car door on your door outside, because I would park on the curb. When Tina
car door, too. Interesting. All car doors.
All car doors, car trunk. Keep in mind, because they have my other keys. They have my
yeah,
keys.
That's true. That's true. Now, we do have literally around 8 minutes before we get off air. So I'm going to try to get as much in and, of course, leave time for you to plug everything in again. Now, is there anything – okay, I do want to know what was the final thing that said, okay, I'm done. She's gone. They've done their investigations. I'm out of this. And was there anything that was starting to be that much more bad that wasn't happening up until you'd made the decision to leave? I guess my underlying question is did you piss them off more when you started to say, I'm out of here?
No. What had lured the team back in April, because they were not supposed to come back. They had already left in January. What brought them back in April was the phenomena was showing signs of escalating again. And I didn't want to go through that again. I don't know if you ever saw Jaws 1 and Jaws 2. Where
yeah.
I don't want to go through that hell again. He's like, you guys sharpened me. I better deal with it. And so I got on the horn. I called. I said, hey, I come home, got new wall writings, got lights flickering, got all this stuff. And they're like, okay, give us time and get our act together. We'll hop on a plane. And I wanted them to capture that phenomena. But at the same time, I'm worried about being followed. I'm worried about going to my new place and how the spirits are going to react. I wasn't so much thinking, they're going to trip me up or, strangle me for how dare you leave us. I was worried about being followed because the evidence already points to they can follow me. But when Steve and Dawn left in mid-April and I had maybe 2.5 weeks to leave, the house was very dark. I mean, it felt dark. I hardly got any sleep because they would start making the phenomenon known as rapping with the constant banging. It sounds like 2 4x4s being hit continuously all through the night. You can't sleep through that. And I was just ready to go, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know how I was going to land at this new place. And I was just ready to get out of it. I felt now I was getting out on my terms based on the amount of evidence that multiple teams had found and were able to substantiate me and Tina's claims, because for a while it was hard to get our claims substantiated. It was hard. About 2 years worth of work. I was still getting contact or having contact with the previous tenant. But 4 years is enough. I mean, 4 years is enough.
4 times longer than the first tenants.
Yeah, 4 times longer than them. And the question, I'm eventually going to have to answer that question of, am I going to be followed sooner or later? So I might as well get that out the way. It was good to finally get out.
Now, here is the next thing to ask you, especially since we're running out of time, and I do want to bring you back. And by the way, please stay on air after we finish so I could have a quick chat with you, too, about that. What has happened from the time you left, and is anything happening now?
Yes and yes. The spirits waste no time in letting me know that some of them follows me because day 2 of me living in my newer place, I downsized, obviously. I got a 2-bedroom versus the 4 that I had. And I'm living in a 2-bedroom apartment. So the day 2 of me living in my new place, I get up like I normally do and go to work. But before I go to work, I always check my work email. And water puddles. This time I'm seeing the water drip from my ceiling in real time versus last time I came home it was already there. So I'm seeing water come from my ceiling onto my kitchen table, and this is going on for about 30 minutes. What drew me to it was the noise, the constant tapping. And I didn't want to thank ghosts. I'm going back to like the kid coffee. I didn't want to thank ghosts because I got tenants who live above me now. And I called the building maintenance to report water leakage coming from the ceiling. They respond right away because water is a big deal if it's coming from the ceiling. They go upstairs, ask permission to enter the people upstairs' apartment. They do. There's no pipes between the floors. There's no water leakage. There's no spilled aquarium, no broken water bed, no dishwasher overflowing, nothing. Upstairs they didn't have a washing unit. And they're watching the water themselves. And that's on my YouTube channel, the water coming from a dry ceiling. They brought in their water detection equipment, their water tracer gadgets, trying to look for the source of the water. And they finally wrote in their report, and that's in the back of my book and on YouTube, the building maintenance and the building manager, they don't know what caused that. Wow. It never happened again. They're kind of glad. I'm kind of glad it didn't, but I knew what it was from jump. The only thing that still happens now is the heartbeats in the mattress, the pulsating, the poking and prodding while sleeping, the sheet tugging, occasional nightmare and night terror. I say it like it's light. None of that is light.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, none of that.
I say it like it's light. None of that. That's why I'm afraid I'm so inundated, but I shouldn't be. But that's what's still happening. So occasionally I'll have an electrical issue that's unexplained that me nor electrician can ascertain. Occasionally a TV has changed channel on its own. Just when you're starting to think you've gotten out of the storm, like that movie George Clooney was in when it was The Perfect Storm. Yeah, just when you think you got out of it, then the clouds come back. You're like, oh. So that still happens.
I'm very sorry, Keith. This is actually really sad. I do hope when we're off air, maybe I can try to help in some way. And I really hope for your sake, because I don't like the suffering of humans of any kind. And this trauma and this terror that you're still going through, I will pray that for you that this is gone by the next time you come back on. It kills me. Now, we are at the end of the show, Keith. Again, like I said, I want to thank you very much. Please stick around till the end. I would like you to plug in all the proper websites yet again for everybody out there. And Adirag Studios in YouTube was nice enough to write links to your YouTube channel. Keith _L, and also I see here AmericanSupernatural.com, and those are the two he's written so far. So what else do you have? You mentioned before Demons in Seattle, right?
Yeah, DemonsInSeattle.com. That's where a lot of the evidence from all the paranormal teams that investigated the house. The book, The Bothel Hellhouse, you can find it or get access to it on Amazon.com. Various countries, the Bothel Hellhouse. It's on Kindle and paperback. The interesting thing about the book, both books or both formats, is it's interactive. The evidence or the chapters have links to the evidence. So some of the stuff we talked about tonight, when you go in chronological order in the book, if I say a lamp got thrown and I was able to get a video of it, there's going to be a link at the end of that chapter where you can go click or type and see. Because I'm trying to pull the reader into the book, into the narrative to understand. These things, there's a snowball effect with malevolent activity, and everything sort of builds up over time on multiple levels: emotional, spiritual, mental, psychological, physical, paranormal, and all that. And the book starts from chapter 1 to chapter 40 odd something, and all the references that you'll see are in the book and at the end of it. So yeah, a lot of these links are going to lead you to multiple avenues, but definitely get the book, the Bothel Hellhouse. A lot of stuff in there. Over about 600 EVPs are in there.
Wow.
You're talking about 5 hours of video footage that's in the book, in addition to the 4-year story. And then you got the Demons in Seattle website, demonsinseattle.com, and then the AmericanSupernatural.com with the documentary. So if you like paranormal, you're curious or interested, or know somebody who went through something similar, all these avenues are going to keep you busy for quite a while.
And again, everybody out there, I do hope you get the book, because I know these 2 hours did not literally cover everything. Again, Keith Linder, everyone, I do want to thank you very much. Like I said, we definitely will have you back, and I hope things change. For everybody out there, tomorrow we will be having Grant Wilson, Hour 1. He is also a paranormal investigator. The Atlantic Paranormal Society, I believe, I don't want to screw it up, was he in Ghost Hunters, the sci-fi one. I'm sorry if I'm screwing that one up. And for everybody out there, and the second hour will be good old Michael Dukakis talking about the Democratic Socialists of America and the split between the Democrats and the DSA. And yes, you guys probably have already figured out with all the Republican guests, I have to suck in my Republicanism with talking to him. So yes, you will get a liberal interview for that from him. But of course, hour 1 is going to be about ghosts, and he definitely has to hear about this case. Now, social media folks, everything is one word, the name of the show. It cannot be messed up. Dr. J Radio Live, for instance, the website, DRJ Radio Live, Live. Again, at DRJ Radio Live is the same word, the same literally account for everything I'm about to list off to you. Minds.com. Everybody open a channel there or a page there. It's basically a new Facebook / sort of Twitter, where it pays you in cryptocurrency based on Ethereum tokens. So I know my guest probably knows about that. Everybody knows about Ethereum. Everybody out there, I'm telling you, it is worth it. Minds, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Flickr, Tumblr, Google+, YouTube, Buffer even, Pinterest, and I'm sure there's more. Again, folks, they're all one word, at DRJ Radio Live. With that being said, we've gone a little over from this show, so I want to thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow night. And again, we have changed this week for each of the live streams on YouTube for all of you to stay public. So anybody who's been in there now, well, it's going to stay there from now on, as opposed to doing some post editing, because I figured, why just not let you have it from the moment it's on. With that being said, we are truly out of time. Please stay on to listen to the next show. Again, I gave you all the appropriate social media and websites, and so did my guest, Keith Linder. I do hope you check them all out, and his book. With that being said, folks, I will be here tomorrow night, same time, same place, and I guess it's now to tell you good night or good morning if you're in the UK or in the EU, while I am officially signing off.